Hey, Paul.
Hey, guys.
What's happening, man?
It's just another day, another doula.
Yeah, I thought this episode we can do a bit of a continuation from last week. It was called South Africa's Aviation Crisis. So this is South African's Aviation Crisis 2. Because there's a lot going on in local South African aviation. As Wally Waldeck actually put on a comment that I saw, it's not the airlines, and we'll talk about SAA a little bit here. It's not so much the airline in SAA we're talking about. It's the shit that happens at governmental level above.
Exactly.
That causes a lot of the stuff. But to continue a bit from last week, this news coming from Barsa. They've requested a meeting with Home Affairs Minister Dr. Leon Schreiber to address disruptions caused by a new biometric system at South African airports. CEO George Matema highlighted significant delays. The meeting set for some time this week. Since its phased installation began in 2022, lots of issues have occurred. AXA acknowledged problems with the 380 million rand project, with new technology expected later in November. There's a lot of trouble around this system, particularly seems in Durban. Durban's mentioned more than the other airports, but this is all to do with the biometric system. So there's trouble on that side. Okay, we'll leave that on the side. Next story. Zondo Judicial Commission of Inquiry findings on corruption at South African Airways, South African Airways Technical, and Swissport between 2016 and 2020 led to the first foreign prosecution. Julian Aries, I think you pronounced like that, president of JM International, pleaded guilty to violating the U.S. Foreign Corruption Practices Act. The case, unsealed on July the 15th, involves Aries and co-conspirators bribing South African officials to secure a 5-year contract for JM Aviation South Africa. The Zondo Commission's January 2022 report found the $125 million contract unlawful, with bribes paid to South African Airways technical officials. Further bribery schemes and 1.3 billion rand civil claim are under investigation. Story number 3, and I'll give you a chance to comment afterwards. South African Airways head of sales and marketing Carla De Silva faces criminal complaint filed by her former employee Airlink for alleged theft of sensitive data. This is all to do with that story we spoke about maybe 6 months ago. Key database, a lot of information. We know how critical this internal information is. Airlink CEO Roger Foster reported the suspected crime to law enforcement. The case under the Cybercrimes Act involves the Hawks and the Priority Crime Management Center. De Silva denied the allegations, stating that the data was public. Airlink claims further breaches and has notified industry bodies and regulators. The matter is pending in court. So those are the 3 sort of main stories this week involving South African aviation, a lot of internal fighting, involving, I suppose, something we knew about already, that bribery was taking place. However, I think that it's pretty positive that the first international sort of arrest has taken place. And I suppose that Zondo Commission proving to be valuable. We were affected by a lot what was going on at that stage. So good on that part. And obviously, the other story, there's still the ongoing trouble that happened in Cape Town and the chaos with the lack of instrument approaches. So I'll leave it to you. What is your opinion on the state of South African aviation at the moment, separating the airlines and the charter companies from this type of trouble? Because it's 2 very separate things. I didn't want to do today's show and then make out this is a crisis in South African aviation, because from where I'm sitting, and I think where you're sitting, you got 2 very different sides to the story. The airlines, to me, seem stronger than ever before, but the chaos in the upper echelons of government are not playing their role.
That's where I wholeheartedly agree. I think, the airlines and the operators, the charter companies, flight schools, everyone that's involved in the aviation business, I think are excelling. they're doing their bit to improve the industry and keep things going, and it's working well for them. But they are being severely let down by the overall infrastructure that's spearheaded by the governing bodies, AXA, ATNS, and I see that SAA as well has done away with that Department of Public Enterprises, and like SAA now is being formed or formulated as part of government itself. It's got a whole new different name and entity.
Is that not just another way of saying they haven't actually figured out what they're going to do with that? So
they haven't
at this
figured
stage,
out it. No, and
it's sitting on Cyril's desk as the pile's getting bigger and bigger.
Exactly. Also because they realize that if they were to go and sort of put that in capable hands, they might lose the ability to have their sticky fingers in the pie.
Yeah.
So, there's all that skullduggery in the background. But to answer your original question, I do agree that, the people that are in charge of seeing to it that the infrastructure is held in place and kept working are letting the industry down.
And I suppose the original story that I mentioned there with Barsa, that's what they are trying to look at and make sure gets improved or gets sorted out so that the South African aviation industry can carry on unhampered by all this stuff. The margins are just too small, and you should not be slowed down by things at that level.
Exactly.
It should be encouraged and pushed and made bigger, make a bigger, better aviation industry. But you can't if you're hampered at that level. So let's hope that things are sorted out. The Carla de Silva SAA Airlink story, it'll be clear cut, I suppose. If it was Airlink's IP, then she's going to be in big trouble. If it was public, then she won't be. It also depends on how involved will SAA be in that whole story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Staying with Airlink, South Africa's premier airline is launching direct Cape Town-Gaborone flights from the 1st of April next year. The route will operate on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, departing Cape Town at 10:50, arriving at Gaborone at 1300. The return flight leaves 13:45 and lands at 1600. Not a bad gig.
No, not at all.
Airlink adding more routes, as they tend to do. And South Africa's premier airline, do you agree?
Yeah. Sort of.
Who's your first choice?
I think I'm still pro SAFA at this stage. I don't know. It's
we call ourselves South Africa's or Africa's premier aviation podcast.
Yeah. We might have to do some editing.
I'll take that question away. All right. A German passenger is suing United Airlines for personal injury after swallowing a piece of metal in his flight meal on the 27th of May. That was last year. Flight from Washington to Berlin. Filed a lawsuit seeking damages. United Airlines has faced multiple in-flight catering-related lawsuits this year. So I had the same deal the other day from some Woolworths mincemeat.
No way.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. Maybe I should, go the legal route as well. There was no damage done, but
was there metal in it?
It was plastic.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
No, it does happen. And just can you imagine the amount of lawsuits and the issues that people take chances on a daily basis
in the States in particular,
against all these big heavy hitter companies. Jeez, man.
Qatar Boeing 777 freighter was damaged from Atlanta to Frankfurt due to an unsecured cargo pallet. 7-year-old aircraft grounded for 6 days. Post-flight remains in Doha for repairs. What interests me here, it says the incident was deemed non-serious, thus not requiring an investigation. I was always under the impression that one of those things moving around could cause a major problem. Wasn't there a 747 out of Afghanistan?
There was a 747 that was brought down because of that. So, yeah, I would deem it as pretty damn serious.
I would think so.
Particularly if it does damage to the airplane. I mean, some of those pallets must weigh good couple of tons.
Yeah.
And, if it's damaged the airplane, it's significant.
Yeah, if it's stuck there, it would be significant. So, that surprised me. There's so much investigation going on with other things.
Yeah. Other pallet moves, don't worry about it, man.
Yeah. So this is not a Boeing problem. It's not Boeing's fault that the pallet moved. More the people responsible for loading the aircraft. Cathay is close to announcing a plan to buy dozens of twin-aisle aircraft and is favoring, you guessed it, Airbus. According to people familiar with the matter, Hong Kong-based carriers leaning towards Airbus for the long-range aircraft. Although rival company Boeing could still steal a last-minute deal using its 787 Dreamliners. Cathay already has 48 A350s in its fleet and operates 43 older Gen 330s. Boeing last won an order from Cathay in 2013. So the smart money?
Airbus.
Yeah. Norse Atlantic Airways operated the first direct non-stop flight between Norway and Darwin. 14,730 kilometers in 17 hours with the 787-9 Dreamliner. I didn't know that was possible, to be honest.
Yes.
The historic charter service highlights Norse's growing charter business, which may comprise up to 50% of its operations by winter. The airline's diverse routes includes US, Bangkok, and Cape Town.
Okay.
That's a long haul, eh?
That's a hell of a long haul.
That's not a...
Yeah.
Hop, skip, and a jump, that one.
Darwin, of all places.
Yeah. Shout out. Mulvaney. And all the other Saffers there.
Yeah.
I shot a message to Mark earlier. I haven't heard from Mark in a while.
Yeah, he's been a bit quiet. He's been busy.
I think he's been busy. He posted a picture he was having a coffee somewhere.
Yeah, I can imagine since the collapse of Rex, Airways, and Bonza, that the guys at Nexus must be...
Yeah, we're missing the Saffers that left.
Yeah,
it's
kind of quiet without all these oaks.
It is. It is. Continuation story: the CrowdStrike scenario. Delta is obviously trying to take Microsoft and CrowdStrike to court. CrowdStrike come back and said, not their problem. This stuff happens. Asserts it tested the software updates and offered immediate assistance to Delta, which did not respond. Litigation may follow. So expect to see more out of that story. No surprise there. European Union is reintroducing liquid limits at airports with next-gen CT scanners due to their underperformance. So what this is, they're trying to get rid of security staff at all these checkpoints. Yeah. So they got these fancy scanners and that are basically supposed to do the job of the people. But what happens is the scanner just gives an alert to say this guy may have liquids, you know, but means that you have to actually have security staff there to go and check anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not accurate enough to say this guy definitely does have liquids in his bag. The liquids thing is
still
just
a crock of
shit, man.
I never understood it. I mean, because that was all because of some knob who apparently managed to make a sort of bomb with some form of gel or something.
Now you can't brush your teeth on a plane.
Yeah. Oh, what a crock of shit,
It is. It just seems... Why did these laws come in and then do they ever get like
No.
Once it's in, they're in.
That has stood the test of time, that law. Hey?
Yeah.
How many times you get to airports and you see the people standing in the queue trying to down a liter bottle of Aviation because they'd forgotten that they're not allowed to, or mouthwash or whatever the case may be.
Or spraying a kilo of
or
cologne on because you're going to have to chuck it.
That actually makes sense as to why the airport smells so nice.
You think
it's the shop spraying the perfume?
Yeah. It's actually the smell of the security checkpoint. But it is a pain.
You often wonder, like, what happens to all that stuff that gets confiscated. I mean, like, does it really go in the bin?
In Europe, I would say it does.
Yeah. And here it goes to the lockshin.
I doubt it gets chucked away, put it that way. African Airlines experienced the largest improvements in load factor in June 2024 compared to other regions, indicates a significant increase in the efficiency of aircraft capacity utilization amongst African carriers. Improvements in load factor suggest a growing demand for travel in Air Africa, basically saying what we are saying with where we think South African aviation is. The demand is there.
Another element that is impacting the industry while we, this might be just rewind this bit, but the visa issue is still a massive problem for South Africa.
It is.
As well. It's another avenue or department that's creating a massive amount of hindrance to travelers.
And it's affecting a lot of industries in South Africa.
Yeah. So, in saying that again, companies that are just have the ability or the capacity to do massive amounts of business, and then you get that department that fucks everything up as well.
True. Again, it's the same story. It's happening at a level above. Speaking of visas, I saw an article, Greece is dropping the requirement for Schengen visa for South Africans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, legit.
So you can put into Greece just with your
mamba.
green mamba.
100%.
That's like
yeah.
I think it's because, well, South Africa's half Greek anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think the countries realize the impact, the negative impact this whole visa story has.
Yeah.
It's such a rigmarole. I don't know when last you applied for a visa to go anywhere, but
no,
you and I with our Mambas, you got to make a booking. It's like through this external company. You got to take all your stuff there, and heaven forbid you are missing your proof of residence or something.
Yeah.
Then it's a case of we can't go through to the next stage, and it's an utter hindrance to travel, and it just kind of dampens the whole thing.
Makes sense that Greece would do it, because I know Greece, obviously a very popular tourist destination, and they need the bucks. They're trying to attract the tourists. So
of
it's
course,
a good
but
move
everyone does, Ryan. Everyone, we need it. Yeah, everyone does. This visa story is a pain in the heart.
It's horse nuts, but that's cool. At least our green numbers are going up in value then.
Hundreds, man. Emirates has cancelled flights to and from, is it Dhaka? Dhaka, due to ongoing civil unrest in Bangladesh. The airline closely monitoring the situation. There seems to be this brink of something major to happen this week. Hasn't happened yet, touch wood.
I'm sure the Emirates crew aren't going to be too upset about it, because with those cancellations probably means that they get to chill at home extra day, and because I believe Dhaka is a bit of a shithole. So
it's not on my list of places I want to.
Yeah. Put it this way, we're not going to be applying for visas to go there.
If they reject my visa, there's no issue.
They can keep it. Yeah.
They can keep it. Some finance news here. Vietjet, 15% year-on-year increase in consolidated revenue for the first half of this year. Approximately 1.35 billion US. The airline transported 13.1 million passengers. Ryanair as well, record summer traffic, carrying 18.7 million passengers, a 9% increase compared to the same month in 2023. Ryanair is quite amazing. I was thinking about...
It's all in the name, bro.
It is. You mean just without the B. It's quite cool that the name of the show has your name and my name in it. Huh? I thought that out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was looking at doing today's show basically on Ryanair. So I was collecting a lot of stuff. There's so many positive stories coming out of Ryanair from a pilot perspective, how they're doing business-wise, their planned growth, training, everything. So it actually... it's going to require a bit more research and that before we go and do a pod on that, because there's just so much and I didn't want to undersell it,
Might be worthwhile putting together, I think. Yeah, let's do that.
I think so. Delta Airlines announced new routes from Atlanta to Brisbane and from New York to JFK, Naples as well. So they're expanding. Staying on the finance side, Lufthansa as well, big second quarter profits. However, they say it's driven by strong demand for air travel and their higher ticket prices. Not so good with the consumer. Air India finalized order for 470 new aircraft from Airbus and Boeing. Yes, 470.
That's a massive order. Jeez.
I had to check that one before I wrote it down. That must be 47, but it's not. 470. And then remember Project Sunrise?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well on its way now.
I saw that. Just that long, what's it? London to New York. What?
Non-stop flights from Australia's east coast to London and New York.
Yeah, that's right.
And an A350 1000.
Yeah.
Is that going to be longer than that Norse flight? I don't know.
I think so. Bloody hell.
Bloody hell.
Bloody hell. It's a long fucking time in the tube, mate.
So, that's the main news stories for the week. It's a long weekend here in South Africa.
Yeah.
Got any plans?
I'm just going to drink and take it easy.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Same. Thanks, Paul.
Looking forward to it.
It's a big one next week, number 200.
Yeah.
So join us for number 200. If you like the show and want to support us, please do so by subscribing. And if you want to really support us, then consider becoming a patron. We could do with the extra money to fund Ryan's drinking habits.
And yours.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone.
Take it easy.
Bye
Ciao.
for now.